Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so if you've ever sat down at a poker table, even just once, you've probably hit this question, right? It's this huge debate. Is poker just, random luck? Or is there real measurable skill involved?
It's a massive question, honestly. And it's way more than just chat for the table. The answer really shapes things in the real world. We're talking legal stuff, how tournaments are run, how online poker sites even operate.
Totally. So we dove into a bunch of sources looking at how high-level poker actually works, trying to figure out where that line is, between skill and chance. Our mission today, give you a kind of shortcut to understanding why skill really does take the lead in the long run. Even though, yeah, the cards you get dealt are totally random.
Exactly. We want to show you how the best players take that randomness, that chaos, and somehow turn it into a consistent edge.
Okay, let's get into it. We kind of have to start with the obvious, right? Luck. Poker feels so random sometimes.
Oh, it does.
I mean, you have zero control over the shuffle. None over the cards you get or what comes on the flop, turn, river. It all starts with, well, unpredictability.
That's just how card distribution works, yeah.
Yeah.
It's random. And you see it all the time, don't you?
Yeah.
A complete beginner sits down, catches a couple of monster hands.
Walks away with a big win.
Right.
Yeah.
And that short-term luck, it's real, but it can be seriously misleading, making people think that's the game.
And that first lucky win, that's probably what hooks a lot of casual players, isn't it? But here's the pivot point we found. Okay, you got lucky once. Maybe twice. But can you only rely on luck to win consistently? Like over weeks, months, years?
No way. Absolutely not. The sources are super clear on this. Play enough hands, like a serious amount, and the results just consistently tilt towards the players making the smarter plays, the strategic decisions, just hoping for good cards. That's not a winning strategy long term.
Yeah.
Not for pros, not even for serious amateurs.
Okay, so if luck is just this variable you have to navigate, what's the skill part then? Our sources kept saying poker skill isn't just one thing. It's complicated.
Multifaceted, yeah.
Right. Not just knowing the rules. It's like game theory, understanding probability, and a huge dose of psychology.
And that's where the evidence really starts piling up for skill. You can break down high-level poker skill into, let's say, 4 main pillars. These are the areas where, the pros really get their edge over someone just playing for fun.
Let's dig into those. Pillar 1 sounds like where it gets kind of nerdy, mathematics and probability. People throw around terms like pot odds, equity, EV. What are those about?
Well, at its heart, poker is basically a math problem disguised as a card game. Seriously. The best players, they treat it exactly like that. They're trying to eliminate guesswork as much as possible.
How are they calculating?
Constantly figuring out the odds. Based on the cards they can see, what are the chances of making their hand? What are the chances their opponent has something better?
Okay, odds. That makes sense. What about pot equity and EV?
Right. So pot equity. Think of it as your statistical share of the pot right now. If the pot has $100 and you figure you have a, say, 60% chance of winning the hand if it went to showdown right now, your equity is $60. It's your slice based on probability.
Got it. And EV, expected value. That sounds important.
Be the most important concept, yeah. EV, or expected value. Imagine you're in a specific spot, facing a bet. Calling that bet is an action. What's the average amount you'd win or lose if you made that exact same call in an exact same situation, like a million times?
Okay. So it's about the long-run average of a decision.
Precisely. A positive EV plus EV move means over time that decision make you money. A negative EV move, well, that's one that costs you money in the long run, even if you get lucky and win the pot this one time. Skilled players are relentlessly hunting for plus EV plays and avoiding EV ones.
But hang on, that sounds complex. Calculating equity, expected value, can people really do that fast enough? Like in the middle of a tense hand with the clock ticking?
That's a great point, and that's exactly why it's such a valuable skill. You're not, doing complex algebra in your head at the table.
Okay, good.
No. What happens is, through tons of study and practice, thousands of hands, you start to internalize it. You memorize key probabilities, common spots. You learn shortcuts. Those EV calculations become almost intuitive, instantaneous even. It shifts decisions from I feel lucky to the math says this is the right play.
Okay, that makes sense. It becomes pattern recognition based on math, which actually leads nicely into the next pillar, because sometimes the math might say one thing, but your opponent is acting weird.
Exactly.
Pillar 2. Psychology and reading opponents, the mind games part.
Absolutely. Once you've got the math framework down, you start layering the human element on top. Experienced players, they are masters of observation. But forget the Hollywood stuff like spotting a twitchy eye.
Right, not like in the movies.
No. They're looking for reliable patterns, concrete things, mostly betting patterns and timing, how long someone takes to act, how much they bet in certain situations.
What kind of patterns? Give me an example.
Okay, say you notice an opponent always bets big and fast when they have a monster hand, like the nuts. But when they're bluffing or have a medium strength hand, they take longer, maybe bet smaller. Or maybe someone only raises pre-flop with premium hands.
Ah, I see. So you catalog these little habits for each player?
Exactly. You build a profile, and you use that psychological insight to help you figure out what they likely hold, especially when the math alone isn't giving you a clear answer. Being able to put someone on a range of hands based on how they play, not just what cards might be out there, that's a massive edge, and it's pure skill.
Okay, pillar 3. This one sometimes feels a bit boring compared to the others, but the sources stressed it. Bankroll management.
Well, it might sound boring, but trust me, it's maybe the most critical piece for long-term survival. It's pure financial discipline applied to poker. This is often what separates the pros who stick around from the talented players who flame out fast.
Why is it so essential? Isn't poker about taking risks?
It is, but calculated risks. Poker has variance, right? Swings. You're going to have losing sessions, even if you play perfectly. Bad beats happen.
True.
Bankroll management is your defense against that variance. Skilled players are incredibly careful with their total poker funds. They only risk a tiny percentage of their entire bankroll in any single game or tournament, like maybe 1% or 2%.
So they can ride out the losing streaks.
Precisely. It stops one unlucky tournament or one terrible run of cards from wiping them out completely. It ensures they can stay in the game long enough for their skill edge, their positive EV decisions to actually pay off.
It's like the safety net that allows the math, the psychology skills to actually work over time.
You got it. Without that discipline, even a brilliant player can go broke. It's the bedrock of a sustainable poker career.
Okay, and the last one, pillar 4. Bluffing and strategy. This is the classic poker skill everyone thinks of, but it's not just about random aggression, is it?
Not skillful bluffing, no. It's deeply connected to the other pillars, especially math and psychology. A good bluff isn't just throwing chips in and hoping they fold.
So it's not just having nerves of steel.
Nerves help, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But a successful, profitable bluff is calculated. You're making a bet size that makes sense mathematically, considering the pot odds you're offering your opponent, and crucially, you're doing it because you have a read on your opponent. You think they are weak, or you've built an image that makes your story believable. You're manipulating their perception.
And a bad bluff.
An inexperienced bluff is often just guesswork, a stab in the dark. Maybe it works sometimes by luck, but often it's just giving away chips unnecessarily because it wasn't based on a solid read or the right situation. Skillful bluffing turns weak hands into winners strategically. Bad bluffing just loses money faster.
Oh, so we've got these 4 pillars: math, psychology, discipline, strategy. Theory sounds good. But where's the actual proof? The real-world evidence that skill beats luck.
Well, the clearest evidence is right there in professional tournaments and high-stakes games. Look, if poker was all luck, like roulette, you'd expect the winners of major events like the World Series of Poker main event to be completely random different people every single year.
But that's not really what happens, is it? We see the same elite players making deep runs again and again. You mentioned Negreanu, Ivy.
Exactly. Phil Ivey, Daniel Negreanu, Stephen Chidwick, the list goes on. These guys consistently perform at the highest level. Are they luckier than everyone else? Every single year. Highly unlikely.
So what is it then?
It's their mastery of all those pillars we talked about. The math, the reads, the discipline, the strategic adjustments. And studies back this up too. Researchers have tracked player results over thousands, even millions of hands. The finding is consistent. Players identified as having higher skill levels just achieve significantly better results over the long haul. Skill rises to the top.
And technology must play a role now too, right? Online poker, platforms like Club GG where games can be tracked. Has that changed the debate?
Oh, massively. It's provided just vast amounts of data. Online, you can track every single hand you play. Use software to analyze your stats, your win rates in different situations, your opponent's tendencies.
Finding your leaks, as they call them.
Exactly. You can pinpoint weaknesses in your game with cold, hard data. It creates this incredibly measurable environment where skill isn't just like an abstract idea. It's quantifiable. Players who seriously use these tools to study and improve, they gain a huge measurable skill advantage.
Okay, the case for skill seems really strong. But let's be balanced, like the sources were. We have to ask, is poker 100% skill?
And the answer unequivocally from all the research is no. Absolutely not. It's a hybrid game.
Yeah.
Luck is still a crucial ingredient. It's what makes the game exciting in the short term.
So what are the main ways luck still plays a big part?
Well, first, just the basic card distribution, the poker gods, right?
Hmm.
Even the world's best player can just get dealt garbage hands for hours and lose a session. That's variance.
Okay, the cards themselves. What else?
Second, the randomness of opponents. Sometimes someone will do something completely unexpected, totally irrational.
Like call your huge river bet with bottom pair.
Exactly. Or make a crazy bluff that just happens to get there. Their unpredictable play can sometimes beat your perfectly logical, skillful play in a single hand. And third, just short-term variance in general.
Yeah.
In one tournament.
Ah.
Or one night at the casino. Luck can definitely overshadow skill. Anyone can win on any given day.
And this feels like the core point, the skilled player knows how to handle that bad beat or unlucky session.
Yes, that's the key distinction. Luck absolutely dictates the outcome of individual hands or very short sessions, but skill dictates long-term results. Skilled players understand variance. They have the bankroll management to absorb the losses, and their superior strategy ensures that, over time, they make back those losses and more. They win in the long run because they consistently make better decisions.
Which brings us to why this whole debate actually matters so much outside of just playing the game. You mentioned the legal side earlier.
Yeah, it's critical for how poker is treated legally. In many places around the world, laws distinguish between games of chance and games of skill. Often there's something called a predominant factor test,
Mean.
meaning, does chance predominate in determining the outcome, or does skill? If chance is the main factor, like in slots or roulette, it's usually classified and regulated strictly as gambling. But if skill is the predominant factor,
Like chess or maybe bridge.
exactly. If skill predominates, then it's often treated differently. It allows for legal, organized tournaments, professional players, and avoids the strictest anti-gambling laws. So proving that poker relies on strategic decisions, math, psychology, that's crucial for the industry's legitimacy.
So being able to point to consistent winners, to the math, to the strategy, that's how poker advocates argue it's not just gambling.
Precisely. When someone can demonstrate profit over a huge sample size of hands, that's strong evidence. It's not just random luck. It's more like a performance-based activity requiring analytical skill.
Okay. So for anyone listening who plays poker or is thinking about it and wants to lean more towards the skill side of this hybrid game,
Hmm.
what are the actionable steps? The sources gave some solid advice.
Yeah, we can boil it down to maybe 5 key takeaways based on those pillars.
Go for it. What's first?
First, you absolutely have to hit the books, basically. Study odds and probabilities, learn the basic math. You need to get to a point where you can quickly estimate your chances, figure out pot odds, move from guessing to calculating.
Makes sense. Number two?
Second, pay attention. Analyze your opponents constantly. Watch how they bet, how long they take, are there patterns. Adapt your strategy based on who you're playing against, not just the cards you hold.
Okay.
Third, practice, and then
Yeah.
practice some more.
Mm.
Skill isn't static. It improves with experience, but can also fade.
Yeah.
You need regular, focused play to sharpen your intuition, your reads, your calculations.
Number four.
Fourth, and this is a big one, manage your emotions. Specifically, learn to avoid tilt.
Right. Tilt. We should define that quickly. What is it?
Tilt is when you let frustration or anger, usually after a bad beat or a mistake, hijack your brain. You abandon your strategy, start making impulsive, usually bad EV decisions because you're upset. Staying cool, maintaining emotional discipline even when luck goes against you, that is a massive skill in itself.
Okay. And the fifth piece of advice.
Finally, use the tools available to you, especially if you play online. Track your results, review your hand histories, use software if you can, be honest about your weaknesses, and actively work on plugging those leaks in your game.
Got it. Study, observe, practice, stay calm, and analyze.
That's a pretty good summary, yeah.
So wrapping up this deep dive,
Right.
what's the final verdict?
Well, the clear finding is that poker is defined by its balance. Luck definitely gets a vote. It controls the short-term swings and keeps the game unpredictable moment to moment. But skill gets the final say. Long-term success is overwhelmingly determined by strategic decision-making, psychological acuity, and that crucial discipline bankroll management.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on based on everything we've discussed. If consistent winning in poker hinges so heavily on calculated probabilities, on reading and manipulating opponent psychology, and on strict, long view financial discipline, how much less is it really like traditional gambling games of pure chance, like dice or slots? And how much more does it start to resemble a high pressure analytical performance field? Something like, say, professional day trading or even competitive chess. Where does it truly sit on that spectrum for you? Something to think about next time you're dealt a hand.